Talk Nation, salute. Welcome back, everybody, man. It's your boy, Real Talk Live Sports, aka the Ghetto Stephen A. Please like, share these videos. Let's get into it, man. Heavyweight division: Deontay Bronze Bomber Wilder, Andy Ruiz. Is it going to happen? Tell of the tape. Deontay Wilder, former WBC champion. He held the WBC title from 2015 to 2020. Deontay Wilder is 35 years of age at this point. Height 6'7", weight 213, record 42-1-1, 41 KOs. Deontay Wilder be putting people to sleep, straight up. Sleep. He's from Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Shout out to Tuscaloosa, man. You know what I'm saying? Much love from the South. You know what I'm saying? His last 5 fights is Tyson Fury, from which was a loss. Luis Ortiz, which was a win. Dominic Brazil, which was a win. Tyson Fury, which was a draw. Luis Ortiz, which was a win. Now, let's talk about that loss to Fury for a second. Now, that was a very controversial loss because according to quote-unquote new media, according to other sources, or just people in general, there was a lot of speculation revolving around Tyson Fury's glove, as they call it, glove gate. Now, they were saying that the glove wasn't on properly, so a lot of shots that Tyson Fury was hitting Deontay Wilder with was actually more or less, it wasn't padded. You know what I mean? So that's what did the damage to Deontay Wilder, which resulted in knockdowns, which resulted in him losing the fight. You've seen photos after the fight that I believe was photoshopped of indentations in Deontay Wilder's head from said punches from Tyson Fury's quote-unquote non-padded glove, or the glove wasn't properly put on his hand. Now, if you have a referee in a ring with 2 fighters and you're constantly going in and breaking them up, doing this, doing that, and the third, and you don't see that a fighter has his gloves properly on, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know what kind of ref you are. It's not saying that that is what happened, but quote unquote, hypothetically, if his gloves were not properly on his hands, a referee should have saw that. Now, I think it's speculation. Now, getting into what Deontay Wilder said as far as the result of him losing the fight. If you guys remember the Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder fight, number 2, you will recall the uniform or the getup that Deontay Wilder approached the ring in. You know what I mean? He had the skull face, you know what I mean? The whole uniform, blah, blah, blah. Now, according to Deontay Wilder, wherever his quote-unquote locker room and the facility was that night, he had to walk up a large series of steps. So the added weight of his costume, having to walk up those long series of steps, pretty much took a lot out of his legs. So he entered the fight fatigued. That's what Deontay Wilder said. His legs wasn't up under him, so therefore he couldn't perform how he needed to perform in the fight. Now, I don't think that was the point, you know what I'm saying, or necessarily the case. I thought that he just possibly got beat, you know what I mean? The first fight with Tyson Fury, was a draw, although, like I said, it was knockdowns, the whole 9. But Deontay Wilder, he was trying to depend on that right hand, you know what I'm saying, in both fights. But Tyson Fury was not only more prepared for that in the second fight, he was more of the aggressor in the second fight. He pretty much took it to Deontay Wilder. So if you have a big guy like Tyson Fury coming to take it to Deontay Wilder, you're taking away that weapon of that right hand. Because with Tyson Fury's boxing ability and the way that he moves, he moves like a middleweight, and the dude is huge, you know what I'm saying? And Deontay Wilder, his boxing skills are kind of underrated, but his footwork definitely needs some work. And his boxing skills, I would say they need some polishing. because he needs to learn how to set guys up, set traps in order to get that right hand off more successfully instead of, you know what I'm saying? I mean, guys running into the shot or he catching dudes basically on certain angles, you know what I mean, as they come in off of the high guard. But if he learns how to set guys up with that shot, he'll be even more dangerous. But that requires boxing ability. And at 35 years of age, it's a little bit late. I ain't gonna say it's late because it's never too late to learn. But he's far into his career, so to develop true boxing skills, especially like even half of what Tyson Fury is at, that's going to take some time. You know what I mean? So unless Deontay Wilder is not only extremely focused, but I mean he's mentally he's like a supreme sponge when it comes to knowledge, which I don't know because with the trainers that he has, you know what I mean? I don't understand how they weren't properly preparing Deontay Wilder for that fight. Because if y'all got away with murder on all those previous fights, you know what I'm saying? Once you had to face Tyson Fury, everything should have been out the window. A new game plan should have been formatted because you are possibly facing the best boxer that you have ever faced. He may not have the power that you have, but he's a far better boxer than you ever faced. Besides Tyson Fury, the best boxer that, in my opinion, that Deontay Wilder ever faced was Luis Ortiz. And he beat Luis Ortiz, you know what I'm saying, twice. Now, Tyson Fury, like I said, a different animal. You know what I mean? He's a better boxer than Luis Ortiz, but he doesn't have that power. But that's fine because knocking people out is one thing, but an accumulative effect of just basically taking punishment throughout a shot, that also has its toll. You know what I mean? And I think that we saw that in the fight because whatever fatigued Deontay Wilder in that fight, it took its toll. And with the pressure that Tyson Fury was putting on because he was the aggressor, you know what I'm saying? That pretty much got Deontay Wilder up out of there. Now, Andy Ruiz, former unified heavyweight champion, he held the WBA, the IBF, the WBO, and the IBO in 2019. But unfortunately, he lost all the belts to Anthony Joshua about 6 months later, where Anthony Joshua came back, you know what I'm saying, and he beat Andy Ruiz in a rematch. Now, Andy Ruiz is 31 years of age. His height is 6'2". His weight is unknown because I think we all know from his training, you know what I'm saying, over there with the Eddie Reynoso and the Canelo camp now, he's been training like he's never been training before. So he's in better shape and that weight is coming down. So at the time of this video, an accurate weight description, couldn't be given or found, rather. You know what I'm saying? His record is 33-2-0 with 22 knockouts, and he's from Imperial, California. Shout out to Imperial, California. Now, his last 5 fights is Anthony Joshua, which he lost the titles again. His second fight to that was Anthony Joshua, which he got that win to put him in legendary heavyweight history for upsetting Anthony Joshua in that classic fight, which he knocked Anthony Joshua down like 4 times or something like that. You know what I mean? Had Anthony Joshua like Deontay Wilder was when he fought Tyson Fury. Like, he looked discombobulated. He was just jacked up. Third to that is Alexander Demirchenko, which was a win. Then Kevin Johnson, which was a win. And Devin Vargas, which was a win. Now, let's talk about the Anthony Joshua fight. Now, when he fought Anthony Joshua, this is for the win, when he got the unified titles. Andy Ruiz came into that fight kind of short notice because he was kind of coming off of another fight. So he wasn't too far removed from training camp. So he was still in pretty decent shape. And we all know what happened. You know what I'm saying? Anthony Joshua, I think he went in there, overestimated, you know what I mean, Andy Ruiz. And he didn't think that Andy Ruiz had the boxing ability that he had. That's number one. And number two, he didn't expect the power from Andy Ruiz. Now, Andy Ruiz is 6'2", but Andy Ruiz can box. That's number one. And Andy Ruiz has power. Now, I've seen since he's been training, since he's been with Eddie Reynoso, he's gotten better. He's gotten stronger, and he's losing the weight. So he's going to come back faster, sharper, and he's going to come back stronger. So that's going to be dangerous for anybody. Now, if Andy Ruiz and Deontay Wilder, if that fight comes to fruition, now Deontay Wilder, he could be in trouble. Yes, he does have that right hand, but like I said, Andy Ruiz possesses power. He's also a good boxer, and he's deceptively fast for a big guy. That's what caught Anthony Joshua off guard the first time. Anthony Joshua didn't expect Andy Ruiz's hands to be that fast. You know what I'm saying? He was throwing combinations. He wasn't just throwing 1-2s and trying to set up for a third heavy shot. No, Andy Ruiz was letting his hands go. You know what I'm saying? So if he fights Deontay Wilder and he gets into a situation where he lets his hands go, and Deontay Wilder, if his defense isn't sound, now Deontay Wilder has showed that he does have a chin. He got hurt against Luis Ortiz. He bounced back, made it through the round, came back and then knocked him down, then eventually knocked him out. Now, Andy Ruiz, if he gets hurt by Andy Ruiz has the speed and the boxing ability to close in and finish off Deontay Wilder. Now, will that happen? No. But can that happen? Yes. Now, Deontay Wilder, with his power in that right hand, if he catches Andy Ruiz, especially being as though he's the shorter fighter, chances are he can knock Andy Ruiz out. No problem. But I think that he should not depend on that right hand. I think he should box Andy Ruiz. He's the shorter fighter, so he needs to be utilizing that jab and setting up that right hand. If he does that, he will be successful. But just trying to load up on that right hand, I don't think that's going to happen. And Deontay Wilder has showed once he gets in trouble, game plan goes out the window. You know what I'm saying? He just starts throwing wild punches and he starts loading up on that right hand. If he does that, trust me, Eddie Reynoso is going to prepare Andy Ruiz. And if he starts doing that, Andy Ruiz will wind up catching him. And if he catches Deontay Wilder, especially if he begins to gas out from throwing all those punches and missing all those punches, he can hurt Deontay Wilder. And like I said, get him up out of there. So Deontay Wilder and Andy Ruiz, not only is that a great fight, but that's a dangerous fight. That's a dangerous fight for Andy Ruiz, and it's a dangerous fight for Deontay Wilder. Now, with the loss that Deontay Wilder sustained from Tyson Fury, I think a loss from Andy Ruiz will actually be a bit detrimental. You know what I'm saying? Because if he comes back and he wins against Andy Ruiz, then that puts him back in the running. Because Andy Ruiz, don't get it twisted, he's a top heavyweight. Top 5 heavyweight, easy. So if he gets that victory from Andy Ruiz, that's going to put him back in title contention mode. You know what I mean? And we all know he's trying to get that fight with Tyson Fury, but Tyson Fury has went on record saying that he will never fight him again, although they are contractually obligated to fight again. Deontay Wilder's taking him to court. No, I mean, like that's sad, and it shows fear on Tyson Fury's part, because although you did going in, you did what you did. Just think about this: Deontay Wilder, if he gets enough defense to basically take a couple of shots or slip a couple of shots and walk Tyson Fury down, Tyson Fury will be in trouble. Because if Deontay Wilder can smother those shots and get some shots off, and he can mask that right hand and get that right hand, he only got to get it through once, especially flush. And then whoever is in trouble. So that is going to be a dangerous fight for Andy Ruiz and Deontay Wilder, but it's going to be a good fight. And I believe that if Andy Ruiz wins that fight, that takes him to the next level, because you're the second man to beat the boogeyman. And that's going to put him in position possibly for a title shot. Now, Andy Ruiz ain't sweet. Neither is Deontay Wilder, believe it or not. You know what I'm saying? But he does need to work on some things. And he's kind of been quiet. Haven't seen him a lot in the gym training or what he's been working on. So I'm one to believe that he has been working on something new. So I can't wait for that fight. If it comes to fruition, I hope so. But if it doesn't, Deontay Wilder, I still believe he will still probably fight one of the top heavyweights. And Andy Ruiz, whoever he fights, I believe it also will be one of the top guys in the division, because I do believe he wants to be a champion again. I don't think that he would have got with Eddie Reynoso and company if he wasn't trying to be a champion again. You know what I mean? Because that's one thing, Eddie Reynoso, Canelo and company, like, they're a very serious team. You know what I'm saying? It's a championship team. So if you are a quote unquote championship caliber, then that is a good place to be. You know what I mean? You've seen what they did with Ryan Garcia. He's now a champion again. So don't get it twisted. Andy Ruiz, he can be on his way with the victory over Deontay Wilder. And Deontay Wilder can be back on top with the victory over Andy Ruiz, and possibly set up that fight with Joshua or Fury, however that calamity works out. Now, fight fans, I catch you guys on the next one. Who's gonna will that fight be made? Who knows? I hope so. But I catch you guys on the next one, man. Do your best to stay humble, stay blessed, stay motivated. I catch you guys on the next one. Remember, man, guard up, mask up, protect yourself at all times, man. Catch you guys on the next one. Peace.